Minecraft, one of the most, if not the most, iconic game of the 2010s. Minecraft is an open-world sandbox game released on November 18th, 2011, and was created by Mojang Studios. Stated on their official website, the world is yours for the making, and that's certainly the case. The game has captured the imagination of millions, and Mojang has been able to expand the Minecraft name with toys, clothing, and many other goods. Although there is an option to play either single or multiplayer, this video will go over their single player hardcore mode. In single player, you can select to play in creative, survival, or hardcore. Whereas creative gives the player the ability to do anything the game has to offer and supply, survival makes the player work to reach those abilities. In essence, hardcore mode is survival, except it's locked at the hardest difficulty, and the player only has one life. If they die, they become a ghost of their world, and there's nothing to do after, but to leave and start anew. For this video, I have decided to give myself 30 days in the month of November to see how far I can get in a hardcore world. But before I show you how that went, a little background information on why I decided to do this, and a basic description on how the vanilla Minecraft story plays. This will probably be my first video on my channel, which is pretty cool. The main purpose of this video is for a college class that I'm fortunate to be in called Video Games as Artifacts, as an honors project. I'm hoping this will kickstart something for me to make decent quality videos in the future, as I'm also learning how to use Premiere Pro to edit these videos. Second, although the game is considered a sandbox, there is a standard method on how to complete a survival game, which consists of defeating the main boss of the game, the Ender Dragon. Lastly, I did not play every single day during November, but instead, this is what I did in a 30-day period. That being said, this is my 30 days on Minecraft Hardcore. So this is essentially going to be a commentary over the footage that I've been able to record for the past 30 days. So when you log on into Minecraft, this is what you see as the starting screen. In Hardcore, it's exclusive to single player, so these are the previous worlds that I've been creating over the past few years. My first Hardcore world being created a year ago in July. So when I'm create a new world, I named it 25 because the previous 24 Hardcore attempts, I died. I used my one life. And like I said, you become a spectator, a ghost, so you can't build anything, you just float around. And once you leave the game just deletes, and you can't see what you've been able to build and accomplish. So that's why hardcore is very satisfying for me, because you get to build something and you only have one life to do it. So when I'm spawning in, what I want to look for is a great place to build a home, a place where I can hunker down and store all of my resources. And lucky for me, I spawned in a location that I found very, very good. There's multiple biomes in the game, but what I spawned in is essentially the beach area with plains. And what's perfect about plains for me personally, that I think, is the flat surfaces. So you won't have to shovel out any dirt or stone or any obstacles in the way, because there's already a flat surface. The two other things that I look for is water and mountains. These aren't really important depending on what type of player you are. You can choose whatever biome, but personally for me, this is my type of aesthetic that has plains, water, and mountains. And one of the first things you do in any survival mode for Minecraft is punch trees, because wood is essentially one of the most important items you need. You cannot play the game without wood. As you can see right now, I'm building a crafting table because I'm going to need essential tools like a pickaxe, an axe, and a sword. And wood is the most basic material, but as the game progresses and you start exploring more, either exploring the area or mining down, you create more efficient material like stone, iron, and the most durable of them all, diamond. So for this class specifically, I've been asked to look at the aesthetics of Minecraft, and specifically focusing on 7 elements, those 7 elements being visuals, movement, sounds, controls, avatars, materiality, and location and space. Now, I'm not going to specifically talk about each element, but I'm going to try my best to commentate on the gameplay that you're watching here and try to make it as entertaining as possible so there's not a lot of downtime and I can get out my points on how these 30 days have went and how I can accomplish this class requirement. I think one of the best things about Minecraft is the limitless possibilities, right? In creative, we already have all of the materials. You can build whatever you want on creative because you can fly. You have all of your items like I just said. But with hardcore and survival, you have to work up to it. You spawn in and you start with nothing. You have to work your way to build whatever you want you have in your mind, any ideas. So, like I said, with hardcore, you only have one life. If you die, you die. You can't do anything. You can't plead. You can't cheat the game. You're done. And what you're seeing here is me exploring an anomaly that I found in the game, which is a village. There's multiple anomalies in the game, but villages are one of the most beneficial to a player because you are able to, like I'm doing, going around in their houses and stealing. And I know that might sound bad, but NPC characters. And with some of the villagers, you can trade with them, but I do not have any footage of that, unfortunately. But I do manage to do that later in the game. But right now, I'm just exploring. As you can see on my above my heart bar on the bottom is how much armor I have. So the more armor I get, the more durable I get from mobs and enemies. And another important element of the game is having beds, because at night you don't want to die by those mobs, those being zombies, skeletons, and creepers. But if you have a bed, you can bypass the night and explore through the day, what I'm doing right now. So later on, I explored, I've gained my materials and resources, so I'm ready to build my first home. I've been playing Minecraft for a long time now. Once the game was released in 2011, I do remember playing that with my friends and doing it in middle school, having it on my iPad, right, the Pocket Edition. It's very nostalgic for me, and what loved about Minecraft is the how long it's lasted. Uh, as a little kid, As a little kid, I didn't really have to worry about anything, and it being in the age of technology and YouTube being fairly a new thing around the early 2010s, it was really relaxing watching Minecraft YouTubers. And as the years go on, you grow out of it. But recently, like a year ago, as you saw with the hardcore world, I've been getting back in, and there's been a new wave of Minecraft YouTubers and Minecraft streamers that have been catching my eye. So I'm back in my beach area. I have a little farm, and I'm building a very aesthetically pleasing to the eye house. These are the foundations, but in a little bit you're gonna see what the house looks like when it's completed. But when I was little, I didn't really care about what the house looks like. But now, after watching YouTube videos, YouTube creators, streamers, all of that, I wanted to make it look interesting. Unfortunately, I'm not really one of the creative type, so I did have to use ideas from Google Images and YouTube. In the beginning, I was opposed to the idea, but over time, near the end of November, I realized that it's pretty cool having these uh, buildings like that house that I've completed, as you see right there, to be in the game. And I built this cabin multiple times. This is my 25th world, like I said, and it's been a pain in the ass dying a lot. I like keeping a record of what I've built, so right now I'm crafting a sign, and I've done this for like the past 10 cabins, but what I'm putting on the sign is cabin 9, I believe, so, or not past 10, past 8. So this is the ninth cabin that I've made, and then this is the date when I made it, December 3rd. Funny enough, I died on the first day, so this is my second attempt. And part of the Minecraft story is going into a place called the Nether, which is essentially hell. But how you construct to go into the Nether is using obsidian, which you can get by mixing lava and water, and using flint and steel to light a fire. The Nether is important, is crucial into the vanilla storyline because you need to go to the Nether Fortress and find a mob called the Blaze. And by defeating the Blaze, you gain an item called a Blaze Rod, which you can turn into Blaze Powder. And there is another mob called the Enderman. And if you get the Ender Pearl, you can craft the Ender Pearl and the Blaze Powder, and you can create the Eye of Ender, which allows you to find the fortress, get to the end portal, and get to the Ender Dragon. And this is what the Nether looks like. It's very bleak. Everything's on fire. It's red. And yeah, in a little bit, I'm going to explore it. I'm going to try. I'm going to find the Nether Fortress and progress my way throughout the game. Here's the thing. Those past 10 minutes of footage, I died in that world. Not surprisingly enough, after 25 attempts. Luckily, it was only one actual day that passed, but it was still degrading for me because of all of the progress I was able to do in that one day. So I was in the Nether. I found an anomaly called the Bastion, and in the Bastion there are mobs called piglins. You can accelerate the game by trading with them with gold, and what I didn't realize is that there's another mob called the Piglin Brute, and I got down to 3 hearts right here. That was a close call for me, thankfully. But as the stubborn, ignorant person that I am, I decided to go back in because I dumped in a whole stack of gold to trade with them. I went back in, there they are, trading there, and there's the Piglin Brute. I thought, okay, just like Star Wars, I have the upper ground. I'm not worried about it. But what I didn't realize, and if you see on the lower right hand corner, is a Hoglin. And the Hoglin just happened to come up right behind me, knock me in there with the Piglin Brute. I didn't realize it. There he is right there. I fall. He hits me. I thought I was like, okay, I can build, but the game doesn't register it, and then I died. So that was one whole day ruined. Granted, I still had 29 or about 25 days left, so I started again. And then this was my 26th world, and I took a screenshot. I didn't have any footage, but I found another bastion, and I was like, okay, free loot. I can trade with piglins, but again, I died. So I was frustrated, and I created my 27th world. I was like, all right, third time's the charm. I believe now it's November 11th, and I had 20 days left. So 10 of those days were, you could say, wasted. I had the 10 minutes of footage, but right now I'm speeding up the footage. Everything is just new again, and this is where I built my new home. This was world number 27. The past 10 minutes you saw 25. That screenshot was 26. This was my third attempt. I decided this place was a good place to start a home. There really isn't any water, but there's a plains and there's mountains. And back to where we were in the Nether, but this time on my 27th world, I finally found what I was looking for, the Nether Fortress. It was in one of the worst biomes in the Nether called the Basalt Deltas, but I was able to find it, thankfully, and it didn't take me a long time to. They're really rare to find, and it can sometimes take hours. But luckily for me, it only took minutes. I'm really hoping I don't die. I have everything I need. I'm in decent armor. It's not all the way because I haven't found diamonds yet, but I finally found my way to the fortress. Now all I need to do is find the blaze. And this was another close call on my 27th world. If I would have died, I would have had to make a new one, but somehow I didn't. There was a mob called the Wither Skeleton that got behind me. There's a withering effect that takes down their health, but I was smart, and since the Wither Skeletons are 3 blocks high, they can't get below 2 blocks. So what I did there was block the Wither Skeleton, and I was at 1 heart, and I had one golden apple, which basically gives you regen and helps you greatly. And I was able to get through this obstacle. I was so glad. I was like, oh my goodness, 1 heart. If I have to die, I have to do this again. But that was one of my close calls in this world that I'm still alive. and I was able to finally defeat the Ender Dragon, which I'll show you in a bit. So after searching around the fortress, I finally found the blazes. They spawn behind the spawner. I threw down a potion of fire resistance, and I used my axe to get the blaze rod. Just grinding it all out, taking my time. I didn't take any damage, like I said, because I had the potion, and I was ready to go. And I got out of the nether, I got what I needed, and all I needed to find now was diamonds. While I was digging down, I was able to stumble another anomaly labeled a dungeon. It's not really much, but when you saw the blaze spawner, this happened to be a zombie spawner. Nothing too nothing to be worried about. Zombies don't take that much damage, and I didn't want to destroy it. It gives you XP, but when you surround torches around it, they don't spawn. And lo and behold, in that chest, I found a god apple, an enchanted gold apple. You eat those are basically the most OP thing in the game. You eat one of those, you do not die. I haven't had to use it. I was very lucky. I was like, all right, first chest, second chest. The odds, I found another one. You have no idea how rare that is in the game. Once I find it after editing this, I'm sure I'll put it somewhere right here on the screen. But finding two god apples in a dungeon is extremely rare. That's how I knew this was the one. And finally, I've had some diamond pickaxes, but you can enchant in the game, which I won't go into that much. But I was able to find some diamond ore on the caves, and I wanted to see how much I could get with another enchantment called Fortune, which gives you more than one diamond. So one block can equal one diamond ore, right? But with Fortune, you can get up to three with each individual hit. I originally had 25 diamond ore blocks, and using my fortune pickaxe, I was able to get twice the amount of the ores, 54, and that was more than enough for me to finally get diamond armor. So that's what I did. Went to my crafting table and got the essential pieces: the diamond chestplate, the diamond helmet, diamond boots, and lastly, diamond leggings. I was finally ready to defeat the Ender Dragon. So I went in my bed, slept more time, got the materials that I needed. I've enchanted my armor. I've gotten potions of regeneration, strength, night vision. I have my axe, my sword, my pickaxe, and my bow, and I was ready to go find the stronghold. So like I said earlier in the video, I needed to go to the nether to get blaze powder, and I got ender pearls to create Eye of Enders. When you right click on the Eye of Enders, you can throw them, and if you haven't found the stronghold already, what they do is that they locate where the stronghold is. Most of the time, if not all the time, they're found on underground. That was the case for me, and this is just some footage of me walking around my world to go find and locate it. Basically, you throw the Eye of Ender and it draws you near it. It was about 1,500 blocks away, so not that far of a run, but I had to go across mountains, went past villages, and finally, I was able to locate the stronghold. This was only my second time ever defeating the Ender Dragon in hardcore, and it really is satisfying once you do it. I was finally able to find it, and it went into the ground. That's how I knew that it was near. I found another Eye of Ender that I threw that I couldn't find, and since it was behind under this tree, I decided to dig right in front of it. Got my shovel, and I was ready to go. I think one of the satisfying things about Minecraft is the sound effects that you hear. I know a lot of players don't have the subtitles on the bottom right, but I like having that as a sense of clarity, knowing what's around you, and hearing those item plops, the sound effects too. And I found these stone bricks, and with that advancement, I knew that I found the stronghold. The stronghold is really big, but with all of my luck, finding god apples, having only one heart from the wither skeleton, I was able to find the end portal very easily. There was just one block that was open. Usually it's closed, but I was able to fall in. I just got this water because I didn't want it to bother my way. And it's basically a maze. You have to find where the end portal. I could have gotten straight, I could have gone right, but for some reason my intuition told me to turn left. I was really fortunate, honestly. I opened this door. I could have gone down there. I look right, however, and there it is. It's usually not that easy to find the stronghold. They're usually found on the deepest levels, but for me, it happened to be here. I was very excited. I have enough Eye of Enders to place it in the structure, and with one final Eye of Ender, I was ready to jump in. This was the moment I was waiting for. This is how you beat the story mode. You go in, you face the Ender Dragon, you defeat it, and basically that's it. You can do anything else after. But didn't want to get ahead of myself. I knew that this would be somewhat stressful. I knew that, alright, this is hardcore, gotta remember, one life only. I drank my potions. It was night vision, swiftness, and strength. In a little bit, you're gonna see what happens once I go in. I do regret getting a night vision potion. It is dark in the end. It's like a deep space, but the night vision just doesn't look good for a video. But yeah, I grabbed my diamond axe and I was ready to go. So before that, it was black, but with that night vision, everything's all lit up. It didn't look as good. But the main premise of defeating the Ender Dragon, as you can see on the top of my screen, that's the health bar. But there are obsidian towers, and on top of these obsidian towers, there's end crystals that I have to shoot using my bow in order for the Ender Dragon to not regen their health. The end crystal is what gives him life, and what I had to do is first destroy these end crystals. You can see the beam, which means it's charging up the dragon, but I had to go to shoot down each individual tower, and once I hit it right here, it blows up, and that's how you know that you successfully shot down an end crystal. I had a whole footage of this, but my aim was not that great. So in the next part, I was still shooting it. There's one point when I did not know if I was shooting it or if I was too low. So the my first thought was I have building blocks. I might as well just stack up there. But one of the risks of that is that the dragon can hit you off, and that's what's happened to me. I was like, okay, no way the dragon is going to knock me off. So I had a spare stack of cobblestone, and I was building myself up, but all of a sudden, the Ender Dragon comes out of nowhere. I wasn't keeping watch of it, and it hits me off. I grabbed my water bucket. Thank goodness. The quick thinking was what saved my life. If I didn't have that, I would have most likely died. And after a couple minutes, 5-10 minutes, I was finally able to shoot down the last tower, and I could focus on shooting down the dragon. My aim wasn't that good, so I sped up the footage a little bit, but slowly but surely, I was able to knock the Ender Dragon down to its last health. And finally, as it was heading down to its little porch, I was able to slain it with one last diamond hit. Second time ever, I finally defeated it. And with those Endermen right there, it's not a big deal to look at them in the eye. But the Ender Dragon drops a lot of XP. I have 13 right now. You just walk around it, and I got all the way up to about 66, 67. And the last thing that I had to do before jumping into the portal was retrieve the dragon egg. It's a little trophy for defeating the Ender Dragon. I was very excited, and that's it. I completed the story. I jump into the portal, and the credits play. I defeated the Minecraft story. I defeated the Ender Dragon on November 19th. Today is December 8th, and I just finished editing the video. This is the last part that I'm going to add to it. And I still technically had 11 days to see what I wanted to do. now I'm talking in game, and I want to see if I can do this in one take because I do have a surprise. But I still had 10 days. This was what Minecraft, the creators Mojang, wanted us to do to defeat the end. But I took a couple of days because I didn't know what to do next. I knew I had all of this land. I had an image, an idea of filling everything up with whatever I had in my mind. But when it actually came time for me to build, I realized that, yeah, I'm not creative whatsoever. I don't know how people do this. Felt like I had to be an architecture major. But I slowly realized, like I said earlier when I built my first house in this cabin, is that I don't mind. I realized that I didn't mind having using YouTube videos or looking up Google images because if it's in my world, it's still gonna look nice. I gave credit and whatnot, but the last 10 days of the hardcore challenge, you can say, I wanted to take a deeper look at what I enjoyed and why I decided to play and choose Minecraft to do this project on. And I said there was limitless possibilities. But when we're focusing on the 7 elements that I learned in class, the 3 most prominent ones that come to mind with Minecraft are the visuals, audio, and location. So if you're looking at my screen now, and obviously you watched the video, I'm using a texture pack. When you download the game, this is not what the game looks like. This is not what a normal diamond looks like. So I'm going to turn that off for 10 seconds. It's going to hurt your eyes for a bit. I know it hurts mine. I haven't turned it off, but I've had previous experience. But this I've downloaded a texture pack which is external, but when you remove it and leave default, this is what the game usually looks like. It doesn't look it looks different. Subtle differences, and this is what a diamond is supposed to look like in default. But I knew I wanted it to look a little bit more realistic, so that's why I added SensCraft. It really helped a lot, and using these external features that the community has created for the game has allowed me to enjoy it more. And the surprise that I was talking about is I downloaded a shader. A shader basically makes the graphics look super realistic, and this is I downloaded it like an hour ago, but I don't know if my PC can handle it. But this is gonna be a first for you. This is gonna be a first for me, and hopefully nothing breaks, and hopefully I can give you a tour on what I did the past 10 days. So yeah, I gave myself a little bit of a break. Oh my, it is bright, but that looks beautiful. Oh my gosh, this actually looks beautiful. The shaders is not something that Mojang has made, but the community, and just visually, I'm surprised that my computer can be taking this. But yeah, let me give you a little crib tour and show you what I built for my last 10 days. I buffed myself out. Instead of diamond, there's something called netherite. There was a recent update. And I've transformed my cabin to have everything I need. I put a nether portal in here. I have a lot of chests. And I've managed to find a zombie villager, and I named him Finn. Him or her. It hasn't despawned because it has a name tag. And it's just something I have because it's really rare for these to spawn. If you check the 13th minute of this video, I believe, I had cabin 9, but now I'm at cabin 11. Like I said, I like keeping a record of things, so it was the first day, so I wanted to build a home. I created it on the 11th, and I defeated the Ender Dragon on the 18th. So, or the 19th, sorry. So 8 days, a week. That was really fast for me, considering I usually take my time and be safe. But what I've realized about hardcore is that once you beat the main story, the main goal for me that I found was try to be quote unquote immortal. And I knew I wanted to have a farm, and I have all this armor. I'm not scared to go out in the dark. Holy shit, there's a shadow. I'm sorry. But yeah, I created a farm, Usually, when in middle school, I would just create a fence, a 10 by 10 fence. But like I said, I wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing. So I got this off of YouTube. I believe the creator is right here. And like I said, I put the date on the 20. Wow, I guess it took a while, but the 27th is when I built a farm, and I built one more thing as well. There's also a hen house, some cows, some sheeps, and some pigs. And the last thing I did before my 30-day ended was a villager trading hall. I said earlier in the beginning of the video when I first found that village is trading. And I was lucky enough to do that, or fortunate enough, I guess. And the purpose of trading villagers is to make god armor like this. Having the enchantment of mending and unbreaking gives your armor and your tools to live basically forever. So this was the second structure that I've made. Oh, it started to rain. How unfortunate. That I did not expect that to happen. Oh my goodness. But a couple of days later, on my second to last day, I created my trading hall. So villagers have their own trading. This is a zombie villager. And let me turn the volume down. I apologize. I did not expect it to rain. But this allows me to train, like I said, mending. And yeah, visually, this is what I mean. This is the first time I'm playing it with shaders. My computer isn't dying too much. There isn't a lot of lag. I'm genuinely surprised. I also did not expect it to rain, but I knew that with my animal farm and my trading hall, I wanted to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible. And second, let's talk about the location of space. When I chose the 27th world, sorry for that noise, I really want to keep this take. I wanted to choose somewhere nice. Obviously, this place doesn't have water, but what I said earlier is that I want to clear everything up. I want to fill this. I want it to make it a city. Basically, I have ideas. I have so many ideas, but I just don't know how to build them. I know it's just gonna take time for me, and it's just a matter of time. I'm so glad that I got to go through with this, and that I'm doing this for both uh, educational for my class and to help my soul. Honestly, this is probably the world that's gonna last me, hopefully, for a few years. And to really reiterate everything, this is hardcore. I haven't died. All of this I built. I've had those close calls. I had one heart. I had the enchanted gold apples, but everything just happened to come my way. I knew that if I just pushed myself, after I died in my 25th world and my 26th, it was very depressing for me. Yeah, it was really demotivating. I did not want to keep going. But to have a project and to do something that has a purpose really made me push through. And lastly is the sound. As I said before, on the bottom right is where it subtitles what happens. There's footsteps, everything you can hear. The music is amazing as well. I know there isn't music now, but I wanted to close it out by saying that these 30 days has been amazing. That's 1 month. There's only 12 months. That's a huge chunk of my time, and I really do feel it was worthwhile. It was really a great journey to do. I'm really fortunate to do this class, to do the class. We're able to make a video, and I hope that everything was pretty great. This was basically my outro, but to close everything out, I'm going to end it with a music disc that I was able to obtain called Mall. It's very nice. I was hoping there would be a sunset, but it started to rain, which is totally fine. The view is still amazing with these shaders, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. So, I know it was a walkthrough again, but that was what I was able to do in those 10 days, and the first 10 days by defeating the story. So, yeah. that was my 30 days of hardcore and a brief aesthetic contemplation and an aesthetic that I was able to find by playing Minecraft.